back out on the play. All a shot save. Pasternak scores! David Pasternak!
Atomic.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone. My apologies for the laggy intro tonight. My computer's been acting strange all day. I don't know what's up with it, but we have it up and running now, and we are going to do the video I promised you yesterday. Should players who leave championship winning teams deserve the championship jewelry? And for the first time, this man is returning to the channel since the NFL season, and we do plan on doing a NASCAR video in the future, but he wanted to have this great topic discussion. I figured it would be a fun video to make, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Lennon.
What's up, man?
Hey, this is very exciting. Thanks for the idea, and this should be wicked exciting. I know we have differing opinions on this, so that's how I knew this was going to be a fun debate. So,
All right. Yeah. Nice.
well, all right, I guess we shall go right into it. So, we know what we think, but the audience doesn't. Should players who live the championship team midway through the year, should they receive a ring? Letting you go first.
Oh, well, I got to go first. Okay. I don't think they should. I really don't. Like, I get where you're coming from. Like, they obviously contributed in some way to the team. But if you're not on the playoff roster and that team wins the championship, you should not get a ring. Just should. I just don't feel like that. I don't know. It's common sense. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. You're not. I mean, that's like Wiseman this year. Like, if the Warriors won it, we're not. But if we made it and won it, should Wiseman get a ring since he was traded midway through the year and didn't play hardly? Like, that's it's the same with other.
Of course,
I should. Like,
right.
You gotta contribute in the playoffs in order to get a ring. I don't think it's just the regular season.
And of course, we're currently with the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Topics up for discussion, of course. Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley, should they get rings if the Lakers were to go all the way? Usually they do. Usually the team will hand out the ring to regular season contributors. I am for this because, listen, unless they are a practice squad player or whatever the case is, right? I think if you have at least had enough playing time, like a Wiseman for the Warriors case or like a Beverly or a Westbrook in the Lakers case, at the end of the day, they were still with that team for over half the year. So I think that is deserved enough to get the ring. Yes, they got traded at the deadline and they were not part of that, quote, playoff roster. Well, here's one thing we could do to work around this. Okay, fine. Let's say, hypothetically, Westbrook and Beverly do not get their rings. That's fine. But at the end of the day, because they did play on that team some point in the year, they still need to be mentioned as part of that roster. At that point, if you're already acknowledging that they were part of said roster, why wouldn't you just give them the ring to begin with?
Because I don't know. Well, because oh man.
Right, because they weren't in the
They
playoffs.
weren't in the
But if they
playoff.
contributed in the regular season, that should be good enough.
Would the Lakers have made the playoffs if they kept Westbrook on the team? Yes or no? Answer me that.
Probably not.
That's my point. Like if they didn't do enough in the regular season and happened to get traded or request a trade, they should not get a ring if that team goes on to win the championship.
Oh my goodness. And that's true. And I agree. Westbrook was hurting the Lakers, and goodness, they've been undefeated at home since late March. Like, clearly, this team clicked and made the playoffs once they traded Westbrook. But at the end of the day, hold on. Let's look up Russell Westbrook's stats here from the regular season. Now, of course, doesn't matter how good or bad he was, but he did play this year with the Lakers 52 games, averaged 28 minutes, 14 points. That is a lot of minutes and a lot of points accumulated into one season to not get anything but basically a shutout on the Wikipedia page roster saying, hey, this guy was on the championship team.
No, see, I don't know. Is this fun? This is fun. This is fun.
Yeah, well, let's step away from basketball for a second. How about football? Last year, Rams defeat the Bengals in Super Bowl 56. Deshaun Jackson, who requested his release, may I add, he still got a ring. He was playing on the Raiders. The Raiders got bounced in the wild card round, and Deshaun Jackson still got a ring. He only scored one touchdown with the Rams, and he still got a ring.
No, and I don't think he should have gotten one because he requested a trade out. Like, if you request to leave a team and that team goes on to win whatever champion, the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, the World Series, whatever, you should not get a ring if that team wins. You just shouldn't, especially if you request a trade.
I could see maybe that's why, like in the Westbrook case, where he did request a trade, so it's understandable maybe why you wouldn't want to get a ring. Most teams still do it, but if you request a trade, I think that is like the lone exception to the rule. Like, yeah, I think if you request a trade, you could argue that they don't deserve a ring, but again, I guess it ultimately depends on productivity at the end of the day, because you could say, great, NFL practice squad players who don't play a snap all year, they get rings, and I get what you're going to say. Well, they were technically with the organization through the whole season, through the playoff run, and that's true, but you're essentially giving someone no playing time a ring versus players who did get playing time no ring if they get dealt at the deadline or whatever, and of course this is if you don't request a trade or a release.
Yeah, you're. Yeah. You have to stay with the team throughout. You have to play some point and stay with them through the playoff run into the championship. You just have. I just don't think they deserve it. And I've asked people around me. Like I have a friend who's a Lakers fan, and he said he does not think Westbrook should get a ring because he did not contribute enough to the Lakers in the regular season.
Well, that's fair, and I guess we aren't going to settle our opinions on this episode, but, I do want to go into a couple of other quick things that I know Lennon's going to immediately shoot down, but this is just for fun, whatever. So, we know for the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds, New York Mets have Bobby Bonilla on their payroll, and the Cincinnati Reds have Ken Griffey Jr. on their payroll. Let's say, hypothetically, these two teams win the World Series. Does Bonilla or does Griffey Jr. get rings? Yes, obviously they didn't play, but they're under contract with the team. That's got to count for something, doesn't it?
Well, the Mets and the Reds will never win the World Series ever again.
You're correct, and as a Mets fan, I can't confirm.
So, but no, I don't know. You make this really hard.
Well, it's just a simple yes or no question, and I'm giving you the examples.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you have to be able to play. Like
You
I
have to
don't
be able
even.
to play. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just don't like. I know like the people like this coaching, or I guess the coach get one too, but like the towel boy who wipes down the sweat. Does he get a ring?
Mm,
Like he's not
yeah.
like that. Like I think they do, right?
Right.
What do they do? Just I mean, I guess they do help the players. Or the athletic trainers, they get rings too.
Athletic trainers, water boys, they
Yeah,
all get rings,
they
and
all get
obviously the
rings.
coaching staff.
Well, he coach deserves it because he was on the yeah. I don't know. No, it's just you have to be on the team, play, contribute sometime during the playoffs in order
Now,
to
I
get.
will go against my rule here. This past year, where the Carolina Panthers fired Matt Rule, let's say, for example, the Panthers went on a Cinderella run, won 11 straight games, made the playoffs, won the Super Bowl somehow, some way. Lord knows how that would have happened. I think that would have been the one exception to the rule where I would have said, even though this guy coached 3 or 4 games and maybe won him one of their whatever games, I would still say no. I think in the coaching department, I guess the same thing with the players. If he really is that bad, a borderline practice squad player, this guy only played in 2 games. Let's say for the Bruins, if they win the Stanley Cup this year, does Keith Kincaid get a ring for his one start? Right? You never know. But, at the end of the day, I think that Matt Rule shouldn't, and I think Keith Kincaid should. Let's say if the Bruins didn't blow that lead to Florida in the first round, because this guy was a goalie who appeared in a couple of regular season games and was still with the organization until the trade deadline. So again, you kind of meet that gap where if you were on the team for X amount of months, you should be rewarded a ring, I think, regardless of performance or whatever. And again, I think with Westbrook, who was also on the Lakers last year, he's contributed at least a lot of points in time with the organization. You should kind of, I think you should kind of reward him with the jewelry. Now, we're going to go into one last debate, and this is, way off the walls, but I think this would be more cool if anything. Let's say, for example, the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl. Does a team legend like Dan Marino deserve a ring? Now, obviously, when you're distributing these rings, you got to give it to, obviously, active players, practice squad, traded, coaches, coaching staff. But, let's say, for example, you had a ring or 2 left over. All right, you have 150 rings to distribute, I believe it is the count for Super Bowl rings. Would you give one to a team legend that never won a championship? Fraudulent ring, but would you give him one?
I mean, that's like I don't. Well, the Dolphins will never win one, so we don't have to worry about it. But
You're right on that.
no, I still don't think so. Like I get what you're saying, but I don't know. We weren't even alive when he played, so like half these, almost all the all of the Dolphins players now were not alive when Marino played. Probably.
This is true.
I don't know. You shouldn't. I don't know. I don't think you should.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like the most out of the park one. I would agree if anyone said no to that. I think even I would say no to that. No offense to my bro Dan Marino. He went to a Super Bowl. He lost. He never went back. That's on him. That's on the 80s and 90s Dolphins teams, right?
Yeah.
But, I think it's interesting that, there's so many, you could either go one way or the other way. And at the end of the day, what do you choose? He played some games, he coached some games, he deserves a ring, or no, he literally has to be on the playoff team just to get the ring count. It's a good debate, and hopefully there will be more YouTube videos and more opinions shared as we go along. But right now, I'm with if you play with the team, you deserve a championship ring, and Lennon, the polar opposite. You ain't on that playoff roster, you don't get no jewelry. And there's a good argument for both sides. We both get both sides of the argument. But, maybe maybe we'll have some other YouTube videos, in the future debating other stuff. We'll probably have another NASCAR video. We might even do an NFL predictions video or something down the line too. You never know, but London will be back eventually. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.